Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to TTTV. This is TTL F1 round number 6 of season number 13, which takes us to the Monaco Grand Prix. My name is Kieran McGinley. Just me tonight, and we've had a change in the scheduling for commentators. More on that in a second. First of all, though, we need to focus on some championship battles. So let's begin with that. So Squeezy is top on, I believe, 118 points, if I'm not mistaken, and he is indeed 118 points. Jay is in second on 79, Laronix in third on 58, with Spike in fourth on 49. Lambo is then in fifth on 38 points. Sean joint with Ollie in sixth place, they're both on 28 points. Lighty is 8th on 22, with White in 9th on 14, Mays in 10th on 13 points, Odems in 11th, tied with Zenki. They're on 12 points apiece in 11th place. Poe is tied with Blizzard on 10 points apiece. Dave M in 15th there on 4 points. Alan K tied with Graham in P16. They're on 3 points apiece. And Damien is 18th place with 1 point. Looking at the constructors then, McLaren 167 points. It's a healthy lead to McLaren so far. McLaren 91 points in second place. Then it's Toro Rosso in third on 58. Ferrari in fourth on 48. Red Bull in fifth on 38. Haas in 6th on 33, Williams in 7th on 28, Force India in 8th on 22, Renault in 9th on 16 points, and Sauber in 10th place with 3 points. Now Squeezy has made it 5 race wins out of 6 so far this season. It's been a dominant start from him. Can he build on that momentum? Can he carry that momentum now through to the Monaco Grand Prix, which is infamously a track that really divides the grid? Some people absolutely love it. Some people absolutely loathe it. Some people love to hate it. Some people hate to love it. It's a track that splits opinion. We saw Spike in last time out in Commentators Corner on Thursday saying it's a track that probably shouldn't even be on the calendar. Whatever your thoughts are on it, it's still on the calendar. We still have to race there. And Monaco, with the tight barriers, always is a place where it catches out the wary. Steph will hate me for this, but I'm not even going to mention what I'm going to mention. But he does hold the record for most pit stops around any TTL F1 race. That is 9 pit stops that happened here, I believe, in season number 11. So a while ago, but Steph is constantly reminded about it, so that won't help his cause at all. Hello to everybody in the chat and in the stream. Good to have you along. And it is nice to be back in the commentary box after a little bit of time away. I say a little bit of time. Last time I was in a commentary box was Sunday. Last time I was doing TTL F1 was Thursday. Yeah, it's coming towards the end of March now. It's scary how time flies by. I've been doing this for a year and a half. Crazy, really. Absolutely crazy. But it's been fantastic. A lot of fun along the way. Let's hope we have a good race tonight. Of course, Monaco here is one of the circuits that does, as I said, really split the opinion of the drivers. But you can hardly blame them. It is a tight track. It's one of those tracks that just doesn't forgive or forget. It really is that tough around here. Make sure you're out there in the chat as well. I have got a separate screen for that, so I can specifically see the chat. It's something I've been doing a lot recently just to try and keep up with everybody coming in. But you know, I have to do the thumbnail, the tweet, the live chat. It's all on my own at the moment. But what I've seen on the advertisements so far is that we have a big welcome to Malk, who is coming in to cover the TTFL coverage. A big welcome to him and to the TTTV family, which does mean one thing. It's been advertised that Andy might be coming back. We might be rejoining it on Thursday. To be confirmed, though. Andy will still be doing Saturdays as well, the TT Project Cars on that one as well. So he won't be leaving that role, but he will be leaving the TTFL role to come back. It was only temporary until we found a replacement, and Malk joins the family on the Fridays. So yeah, a really good team we're building, and it's great to be a part of it. I'm really looking forward to building on it as well. And yes, Monaco, wow, one of the only tracks to have been on the calendar every single season, I believe. ever since 1950. It's been one of the jewels of the F1 calendar. If you win here, it's a really fantastic win to have. Of course, most race wins is Graham Hill, Mr. Monaco. Lewis Hamilton is catching him though, and Ayrton Senna would have probably had a good shot at it as well. But yes, the great Graham Hill, Mr. Monaco. What a man he was around this track. He's just like no other. And of course, you had Ayrton Senna, one of the greats around Monaco as well. Seemed to find a second and a half where no one else could. Absolutely fantastic talent around this circuit, and well, for it being narrow, it's a track that attracts a lot of interest. Of course, we had Senna putting it into the wall at turn 8 all those years ago, leading by so much, but always wanted to push himself and eventually pushed himself too hard into the wall. We've also had Sergio Perez crashing into the wall at turn 9, lost it under braking, hit the wall on the right hand side and went straight into those foam Armco barriers into turn 10. And yeah, he was grateful to get out of that one with very minimal injuries. He did have concussion, I believe, and I'm not surprised the velocity he hit that. We had Nico Rosberg as well back in the Williams, I believe 2006, when he lost the car over the curbing in turn 13, went straight towards the inside barrier of turn 14 on the entrance, and then went straight back into the guardrail on the left hand side. A heavy impact. And then of course we have an HRT and a Caterham, I believe it was at the time, of Jarno Trulli and Narain Karthikeyan basically mounting each other over turn 18. Trulli went for a move that shouldn't have gone for, but you know, it's Monaco. Sometimes you get a little bit desperate. One person that did want to try and get past a load of people at turn 6 at the hairpin was Adrian Sutil, very known for trying to dive it up the inside of turn 6 to try and catch drivers out. But yeah, it's a very tight section. You don't want to be trying to move down the inside there. And so you're just asking for trouble. This is why qualifying is crucial for those drivers as they head towards the start of the session. Now, it's a good chance for points if you can get to the end of the race. So it is all to play for as we head now down to the countdown. And hopefully we will be able to enjoy a Monaco Grand Prix. I wonder how the weather will affect everything today. And if we have a look through the standings here, interesting enough, no Spike. He said he wasn't enjoying the circuit. He doesn't enjoy the circuit, so to me it's no surprise we don't see him here tonight. Might Mercedes rue that decision though, to sort of let him miss this one out? And it's a good chance for points, a good chance for a high position, but clearly Spike not happy with the circuit and choosing not to turn up today. It's a very good chance for Squeezy to get even further in the championship, and Mercedes, well, you know, they have a good chance as well with Squeezy to try and win the Constructors' Championship. So who knows what could happen as we now head towards qualifying now, and we await to see the weather. And in a moment now we're going to jump into qualifying for round 6 of TTL F1, the season number 13. Under the lights tonight, Monaco, a night race under TTL F1. So it's always good to see racing under the lights tonight. So that makes it 3 races on the calendar in this season that will be under the floodlights. And Maze is in the chat there saying it's going to be dry for the race. So that's always good to see. We do want to see dry racing here tonight. And in terms of tyres, well, the softest compounds possible. It is the Hypersofts, the Ultra Softs and the Super Softs will be used today. Hypersofts, well, they can last a good while around this circuit. Of course, it's a track that really is harsh on the tyres and not harsh on the tyres at the same time. If you treat the tyres with that little bit of respect, you have a good chance of making them last quite a way into the race. But some of the drivers might want to start on the ultra soft tyres. The thing about Monaco is it is a battle of the pit stops. You can make the undercut work here, and it is a very powerful thing, the undercut. Very powerful indeed. You can see the Poe there making his way up the hill now, and coming now through Casino Square and under the floodlights. It looks fantastic, I have to say. Heading now down the hill towards turn 5 now. Infamously where Nico Rosberg there went straight on. Made a mistake, locked up, went straight on in 2016, and had Lewis Hamilton forced to abort his lap as we now head through turn 8 here. You can see Poe here just trying to warm up the tyres. And you can see that is Squeezy right behind him. Squeezy a little bit frustrated maybe that he wasn't first out on the track. But you can see here Poe making his way through the tunnel. Now coming down towards turn 10 and 11. But he goes straight across because of course you can do. There's no penalty for cutting the track on an out lap or on an in lap. Only when you do your lap. Otherwise it's invalidated. And if you do that in sector 3, then your lap gets invalidated for the next lap as well. But here comes Poe then, riding on board with him as we make our way around the final couple of corners, coming towards Anthony Nogues right now. You can see Poe back off right off here as we head around the final corner now through Anthony Nogues and across the DRS zone and across the start-finish line, run down to Sandoval. Very short run and very curved run as well, braking hard and turning in Sandoval. Really got to have faith in the car as we now head up the hill through turns 2 and then the long left-hander of turn 3. Very easy to lose your concentration and understeer into the wall. Now coming through turn 4 in the Casino Square. Down the hill we go now towards turn 5. Turn right to avoid the drain and then quickly head back to the left-hand side as we now head towards the hairpin now. Turn 6, very tight, slowest corner on the calendar. Here we go now through turn 7 and now towards turn 8. Really got to set yourself up for the tunnel here. You can see the Force India pulling over all the way to the right-hand side. A brief period of light here as we head now through turn 9, all the way now coming down towards turn 10 and 11. Very tricky to get this braking zone right. Watch the walls here. The orange pieces of guardrail will catch you out and they can spin the car as well. Heading now through turn 12 is a fast left-hander. You have to be very brave there now through 13 and 14, coming through the swimming pool section of 15 and 16. Heading our way now through down towards turn 18 where Michael Schumacher infamously locked up in inverted commas to abort Alonso's lap in 2006 as we head now with Poe through Anthony Nogues and across the start finish line. It's a 109.5 from Poe in the Ferrari, looking to try and make this qualifying count. As Squeezy comes back into the pits, we've got Sean out there on a set of super soft tyres, trying to warm them up there. Lighty then goes second, 111.2 in the Force India. Pursuit here, making his TTL F1 debut, and what a track to make your debut at. Third place in the standings right now, but yet to set a time. Yuzi here making his way now through 13 and 14 and now coming through the fast swimming pool section of 15 and 16, making our way now down towards turn 18 at Raskas there, and then through turn 19 now, making our way through Anthony Nogues and towards the start finish line now. Where can Yuzi get himself in the Toro Rosso? Third place there, 112.1. Graham there, 113.5. One person we would have to look at the moment is, let's find him, Siege. And Yuzi's actually retired from the session. So what's happened to Yuzi there? I wonder. Oh, Lighty colliding with the wall there. And that's what happens when you try and take the inside of turn 12 and you're a bit too brave going through there. And you can see Lighty losing that chunk of front wing. We're on board with Pursuit then as he makes his way now through Raskas and now through Anthony Nogues across the DRS activation point as we now make our way towards the start finish line. And Pursuit 110.3, faster than his teammates so far. We've got Sean out there on some super soft tyres right now across the DRS activation point and on the run towards the line on super soft tyres, and it is a 113.5. Is it? No, 112.3. My mistake. Sean puts himself up into 5th place now. Alan Kay has been on a lap on some super softs. That's a 113.1. And let's see who else is on a flying lap right now. Well, Squeezy's come back out on a set of ultra soft tyres. So the middle stint tyre is what Squeezy's going for today. As he makes his way now through turn 10 and 11, through that fast left-hander of turn 12. And you can see how easy he takes it now on his outlap. We have a look now through 15 and 16. There's a slight left-hander of 70 before the breaking point of turn 18. And Raskas up the hill through turn 19 and through the final corner across that DRS point and heading towards the line. Squeezy now on a flying lap, heading now up towards Sandoval. Hard braking, very easy to lock the car up and go straight on. You can see the Squeezy there. The car was willing to lose the back end as we now fly through turn 3 and heading towards Casino Square now through turn 4, and again switching to the right and then back to the left to avoid that drain there. Really can cost you time and the back end as we now head through turn 5 now towards the hairpin here of turn number 6 as we now head down the hill towards turn 7. Then in towards turn 8, just before the tunnel. Crucial to get this corner absolutely spot on as well. Otherwise, you leave yourself open to an attack through turn 9 and then down towards turn 10. Braking now hard as soon as you really see the chicane there as you go over the hill. As we make our way through turn 10 and 11. Squeezy now making his way towards turn 12. Chucking the car in and really hoping you don't tap the wall. Then through 13 and 14. Really easy to keep it flat through there as we head through 15 and 16. Towards the left-hander of 17, then through Raskas of turn 18. Up the hill we go through Anthony Noakes and the final corner. DRS open as we head towards the line. Squeezy losing that back end very slightly, but he heads towards the start-finish line now, and that is a 109 dead. Absolutely dead. 109. Great lap from Squeezy on those ultra soft tyres, and I believe there's still more time to come. Ollie then, tapping the wall there, and now he has to go through the swimming pool section, and you can see now he backs out of that lap instantly as he makes his way now through Raskas. Lots of cars here will be just trying to put in as many laps as they can. Ollie's one of them. He makes his way now towards the start-finish line to start yet another lap. It's a 111.7, even though he backed off, so there's some serious pace in Ollie today. Let's see if he can put it to good use. Siege then has been struggling with the tyre temperatures as he now makes his way through the hairpin now. Down the hill through turn 7. And then it's through turn 8. Ooh, he runs a little bit deep there. Don't know if he collected a wall there, but Alan Kay moves over to the right-hand side. Very difficult to try and get out of people's way here at Monaco. And now we're heading now down the hill towards turn 10 and 11. And Siege, well, that's pretty clear. He's aborted that lap and just trying to make his way back to pit lane as quickly as he possibly can. Alan Kay then making use of the escape road through turn 10 and 11. And again, just keeping out of the way of the traffic. And there's Ollie here. Now he's making his way now back to pit lane, I do believe. He's in mode 0 in ERS. As he makes his way now through the swimming pool section. Now towards the Raskas. And will he come back in? No, he won't. He'll stay out. And he'll go for another run then towards the start-finish line. And Ollie then, with the DRS wide open, looks to go for another lap. You can see how out of shape he got there, just out of the final corner. Willing to put everything on the line. And again, Ollie's not happy with his lap. And he backs out of this one too. So he's going to be coming back to the pit lane now. Surely he'll be coming back to the pit lane. Where's Siege? There he is, coming out of turn 8. Now making his way through the tunnel, through turn 9. And then coming out of the tunnel section down towards turn 10. You really can't see that chicane until it's time to brake. Oh, and Siege just hit the wall! The inside wall at turn 11. And Siege is out of qualifying. Those are the fine margins here. And Siege will not be setting a qualifying lap as he finds himself in the wall. Graham here on a set of ultra soft tyres as he now makes his way down towards turn 18. And he's made the jump up from TTL F2 in this season with the Alfa Romeo Sauber. And he makes his way towards the line now. What sort of lap time can he set? It's a 1:14.4 on those ultra soft tyres. Looking to just get some running in them. Here's Poe then, coming around final couple of corners. He looked like he was on a flying lap until he backed out of it. And now heading towards the start-finish line. Up towards turn 1. Really leaving that braking late there. You can see, or you could hear rather, the car might not have made it, but just about did it as we make our way now through turn 3. Very easy to try and overestimate the grip of the car as we now head down towards turn 5. And turning in, now making our way down towards turn 6, slowest corner on the calendar. All the way down to at least 39 kph. Makes his way now through the tunnel section. And now heading down towards turn 10 and 11. Oh, that's the wall you don't want to hit. That rear tyre can catch onto the end of that orange barrier. And it just sent him spinning around. And, well, blushes are spared at least. He does that in qualifying rather than the race. And Pursuit has now retired in P3. And there is Poe coming back into the pit lane there. And that is the Force India getting well out of the way. Squeezy really attacking now on those hypersoft tyres. Still 6.5 minutes left to go in this session. As we make our way through turn 9. Going down the hill now towards turn 10 and 11. Got to be careful with that orange barrier. Lurking, looming, ready to catch that rear tyre and send you spinning around. As we make our way now towards the final couple of corners. And round the final corner, what can the Mercedes do? It looks like it's going to be a quick one, and it is. It's a 108.115. And that could shatter morale. And he knows that as well. Backs off now. By the way, May's up to P5 now on a set of ultra soft tyres. Ollie now on an out lap. He's gone back out on a set of ultra soft tyres as he now makes his way around the swimming pool section now towards La Rascasse. And will he come into the pits? No, he's backing off to go for another lap round Anti-Nose. And now heading towards the start-finish line. What can he do on this lap? We'll have to wait and see. Sean out there on some ultra soft tyres. He now makes his way through turn 12. Very close to the right-hand side wall there. Gotta be careful as he makes his way through the swimming pool section. Now coming towards Rascasse here. And the car just about gripped in. Lots of understeer in that Haas. As they now make their way through turn 19 and towards the start-finish line. What can Sean do? What can the lap be? It gets up to P7, 111.6. Alan Kay on a lap on some ultra soft tyres. Sean on an in lap. Here's Ollie heading through the tunnel as he makes his way now down towards turn 10 and again backs out of this one. So for whatever reason he's not happy. Well, Alan Kay meanwhile making his way through turn 7, then through turn 8 here. And you can see that car's pretty stable at the moment at low speeds. And this is the thing about Monaco. Most people think that, you know, put the aero up as high as you possibly can, you're going to do well here. Well, what about these low speed sections where the aero doesn't work as well? You've got to have that mechanical grip and you've got to make sure the car grips in. Here goes Alan Kay then through turn 13 and 14 now. Really clipping that curve as we head through 15 and 16. Through this left-hander of 17. Now coming towards 18 here as Mays retires from the session. And Alan Kay comes back to the pits. Lighty then on a flying lap. And no, he's backed out. He's backed out of this lap. Has the Force India driver currently in 4th place right now. Stays out though. And here he goes then for another go, another lap. Making his way now towards the start finish line to just go for another lap on those hyper soft tyres as well. And now makes his way up the hill. And now heading towards turn 3 as George Roberts has retired. Monaco really does test you as Lighty goes over that train. And that hot lap when I said you need to avoid it, well, Lighty goes straight over it. Lighty now making his way through turn 7, now towards turn 8. Getting the exit of turn 8 is crucial here as we head through turn 9. Now heading out of the tunnel then down towards turn 10 and turn 11. Lighty there being a little bit risky. Looking to try and use that curb on the inside there. Meanwhile, Ollie's gone up to P2 now. But those set of ultra soft tyres are 3 laps old. We've surely got to be looking to come back in and put on a set of new tyres here as Lighty, it looks like he sustained a bit of front wing damage, is he? Or is that just the camera? No, that is front wing damage to Lighty's car on the right hand side. Alan Kay's retired from the session now. As Graham is out there. 113.5 from him so far. Squeezy still in the pits. As Ollie's still out on track here. As he looks to get out of the way. That looks like it's... is that Sean or is that Graham? It's Graham going through then. In the Alfa Romeo Sauber, making his way through turn 12. And then through turn 13 and 14 as Lighty retires from the session. Some of these drivers then clearly thinking that there's not going to be enough time to make it back to the pit lane. and go for another run. And here comes Graham in towards the start-finish line. 1 minute and 40 on the clock as Graham now heads towards turn 1. George Roberts retired without seeing a lap time, and we saw Siege on the stream crash out. As Poe is now out on the circuit for another lap on some Hypersoft tyres, looking to try and overtake Ollie, and you can see Ollie being wheeled back into the pits then. He's not going to make it out in time. So that is the end of the Red Bull's day then. Here's Squeezy on an outlap. Hypersoft tyres, you could see there, just revving second gear, trying to use as much fuel as possible on his outlap. That's exactly what he's trying to do as Ollie retires from the session then. And Squeezy then trying to now make his way down towards turn 18. Up the hill we go through turn 19. And away we go. What can the Mercedes do? Braking hard into turn 1. We've got to also watch out for Poe making his way through the final couple of corners. You can see there he's got to create a gap to Graham here. Graham coming up the hill through the final corner on a fast lap. And what can he do then as he heads towards the start-finish line then? And it is a second faster, 112.5 from Graham. So it's a good improvement from him. And he's now only 4/10 behind Yuzi, as it looks like he's going to go for another lap. Here comes Poe then. Up the hill we go. And heading towards turn 3. Squeezy then riding on board as we now head down towards turn 10 and 11. And again, he misses that barrier. It's caught Poe out already today. As he flies through turn 12. Squeezy very close to that right-hand side wall through 13 and 14. Almost flat out through there nowadays. 15 and 16, you can see the back end. Squeezy keeping it under control through turn 18. Out the hill we go through turn 19. And now coming towards the start-finish line. What can Squeezy do then? Can he get any quicker? No, he can't. 3/10 slower. Still on pole position though by 0.8 of a second. Here comes Poe then. Flying through 13 and 14. He's got to watch out for Graham ahead of him. And he just had to slightly back off there. As Poe makes his way around the final corner. He'll now be heading up the hill through the final corner now. And as he heads towards the line, can he improve on his lap time here? It's a 1:09.0. And he can't quite do it. Third place, second row of the grid for Poe. As that is qualifying over and done with. So pole position goes to Squeezy on those Hypersoft tyres. Ollie is in second on 3-lap Ultrasofts. When we head to the race, Poe in third on Hypersofts. Nexus and Lighty in fourth and fifth. Alan Kay in sixth. Mays in seventh. The Renaults want to improve on last time's result. Sean there in 8th place. Yusi in 9th on Hypersoft tyres. As Graham is in 10th, rounding out the top 10 on Hypersoft tyres. And there is your pole sitter then, Squeezy, looking to try and make it 5 race wins out of 6 this season. And he's going the right way about it so far. Pole position at the Monaco Grand Prix is exactly what he needed. And we'll have to wait and see how he can do tonight then. Squeezy on pole by 0.8 of a second. Ollie is in second with Poe in third. Nexus 4th, Lighty 5th, Alan K 6th. Mays is in 7th place, Sean in 8th, Uzi 9th, Graham in 10th. George Roberts and Siege did not set times in that session. As we saw, Siege retired from the session due to crash damage on the exit of turn 11. And what's going to be interesting, Alan K, Mays and Sean starting on Ultrasoft tyres, as is Ollie. But Ollie's starting on 3-lap old Ultrasoft tyres. Well, here we go then for the race. And I am looking forward to this one. Who's going to be brave around the circuit? Who's going to prove that they have what it takes to win here? Squeezy's putting himself in a really good position for this one. But can he convert that to a race win? Let's have your predictions in the chat. Who do you think will win here today? And do you think we'll see the pit stop record be broken? Not just tonight, ever. I'm sure Steph would appreciate that. But the Monaco Grand Prix then. 19 corners, which takes us around a whole lap of Monaco itself. And it's tight, it's twisting, and it's very, very narrow. Overtaking opportunities are very, very limited. And it's going to be a hectic first lap here. You keep 4 wheels on the car, even with front wing damage, even with visiting the pit lane, you've got a good chance of scoring some points. Get the car to the end. That's what the teams will be telling the drivers today. If you get to the end of the race, you've got a good chance of scoring some valuable points for the rest of the season. But we head now with Squeezy. 39 laps we will have around the Monaco Grand Prix. And Squeezy in the Mercedes, not only looking to extend his Drivers' Championship standing, also looking to extend the Constructors as well. Only one Mercedes, only one Red Bull, only one Ferrari. You've got 2 Force Indias and 2 Renaults. They've got to take advantage of tonight. They can try and outscore the top guys. Pursuit in his debut, 4th place at Monaco. Not a bad way to start it. Lighty is in 5th place. He'll be wanting to prove everything today. He has got pace. We know he's got pace. But he won't want to be beaten by his teammate at the very first race. Alan Kay out-qualified Mays this time around. Alan Kay starting in 7th place at the moment as we head through the tunnel. There is Mays, who is in 7th place. Sean in 8th place right now. You see there in 9th with Graham in 10th. This is his chance to score some valuable points here. He's already got 3 of them this season, but he'll want more. George Roberts all the way down the field in 11th place. And I believe this is his first race of the season. And he's got Siege right behind him. So George Roberts on a set of super soft tyres. Siege is on a set of ultra soft tyres. And as we now head back towards the start-finish line then, and heading around Anthony Nogues on the formation lap, TTL F1 is brought to you by WeakWiFiSolutions.com, who also sponsor the Driver of the Day Award. And TTL F1 is also brought to you by ALogo.com, who also are sponsoring the Fastest Lap of the Race Award. Make sure you check out those two on the TTL F1 Twitter page, TTL_F1, under the bio in the description. But we are almost ready to go here at the Monaco Grand Prix. Under the lights here tonight. We're ready for the Monaco Grand Prix. It's 5 red lights. Round 6 is underway, and what are the crucial starts like as we head now up towards turn 1? It's a very short run up as we head through now. Can they all make it through cleanly as the Ferrari and the Red Bull touch? And Nexus goes straight through up to P3. He goes, and Ollie and Poe making contact as we head through turn 3, riding on board with the Ferrari. He won't be too impressed with that one, but Nexus will be absolutely thrilled. He's up to P3 on his very first start here in TTL F1. Usually there in 9th place, looking to put pressure on Mays here. Sean has got up to 7th place. Alan Kay is up to 6th there. So it's a good start from them as we head through that tight hairpin there. And that looks like a bit of Williams. George Roberts there losing a bit of front wing as we now head through the tunnel now on board with Squeezy as he makes his way through. Now down towards turn 10 and 11. Getting the braking here is so crucial. And it's very tempted to go for a move, but drivers have to resist the temptation for the first couple of laps, riding on board with Graham then as he looks to try and put some pressure on Yuzi. Yuzi, meanwhile, trying to put some pressure on Mays as they now head through turn 12 for the first time. And we've got a bit of front wing debris all over the place there. I wonder, it looked a bit red to me, and that's Poe into the wall! Poe into the wall of Ferrari in that section of the track. That's almost reminiscent of 13 years ago, and Poe here has to pull over all the way over to the left-hand side, and he wanted to come into the pits. He couldn't do it, though, and, well, he'll have to go through a whole lap, and he's actually left the session now, so that will become our first retirement of the day then, as George Roberts heads into the pits for, assuming, a front wing change. Let's have a look. It is indeed the Williams crew putting on a new front wing on the very first lap. That won't help the morale of George Roberts. It won't help his confidence either, having to pit so early. But Squeezy then 2 seconds already ahead of Ollie behind him. And you can see Yuzi there trying to put some pressure on Mays as we head through turn 8 now. The Toro Rosso driver doing his best to try and just put him under a little bit of pressure. Watch out behind. That's Siege putting some pressure on Graham as Nexus picks up a 5-second stop-go. It's exceeding track limits, so that was obviously a serious one, enough to warrant the virtual race control awarding him that penalty. So he'll have to serve that at his next pit stop. And here's Siege then putting some pressure on Graham. This is the problem with qualifying so low down the field. Now looks like Sean trying to challenge. Oh, that's a Renault into the wall. It's Alan Kay into the wall. And has he got a bit of damage to that front wing? It looks okay to me right now. But he's down to 10th place now. Here's Siege just putting some pressure under Graham. And this is the problem. When you know you're quicker than the car ahead, that's all well and good. But at a track like Monaco, where overtaking is so limited, you've just got to keep applying the pressure and see if you can put them into a bit of a mistake. Siege will let Graham stay ahead for now. But he's got to watch out for that frustration. That can strike at any time. As we head now down towards the hairpin, it's all about keeping that car on the track and making it to your pit windows. Force India's running 3rd and 4th at the moment. It's a good sign for them, as that is Sean 5.3 back right now. And that field is slightly spreading out a little bit. You see there, Siege still trying to put some pressure on the Alfa Romeo Sauber of Graham. And you can see they had a good run out of turn 11, but just nowhere to put the car through turn 12. Oh, that's a little bit of contact there. Oh, the Red Bull's around. Alan Kay having to stop the car there to try and avoid that one. But Siege there looked like a little bit of 2 doesn't go into 1. And you can see Siege now actually reversing, as that's actually a quicker way to get the car around. That'll be a bit of front wing damage for Siege. And he'll be frustrated with that one. Just looked like Graham but into a bit of a mistake there. And Siege was just too close behind. Nothing he could have really done there to avoid that one. And that is Siege then. Front wing damage straight back into the pit lane. And the Force Indias then making their way through turn 7 and then through turn number 8. This is the closest battle on the track right now. No sense of team orders whatsoever as we head now down towards turns 10 and 11. Squeezy looking to try and make it 5 out of 6 today. We're only 4 laps in, mind. And George Roberts has retired from the session. And whereabouts is that, I wonder? As Siege now comes back out of the pit lane. He's on super soft tyres, so the plan is, I'm assuming, he wants to go to the end of the race. We now head up the hill through Anthony Noakes with the Force Indias. And you can see there, Lighty's DRS come open. But look at that ERS management. He's really trying to attack his teammate. Meanwhile, Pursuit here is just very happy to just keep that gap. Save some ERS. He knows he's got the advantage here. Track position here at Monaco is crucial. As Nexus here, slowing right down here as we head through. Yeah, slowing right down. Not sure what this is about. I wonder, yeah, it's a virtual safety car, but it hasn't come up on the HUD. So, yeah, virtual safety car has been deployed. And I think that's to recover the car of George Roberts. Sorry, it took a while. I didn't quite realise. Didn't come up on the HUD. So, just had to look at the marshal boards then. And watch out for those green flags then. They'll come on when it's time to go racing again. But yet, keeping the delta at the moment. All the cars are on the same bit of Scalextric's track at the moment. And they have to keep to a certain delta. They go over it, then they risk having a penalty. And still under that VSC right now as we head towards the final corner. On board with Squeezy, race leader after lap 5. As we now head towards the start finish line to start the 6th lap. And are we under green flag racing? We are indeed. DRS is back online as we're back under full course green. And that looks like a move there. Was it? Oh, it's Pursuit coming into the pits then. So Pursuit coming in. And what's the tyres going to be? That's the 5-second stop. He has to wait for that one. And now the crew can go to work. And they put on a set of ultra soft tyres. So it looks like a 2-stop for Nexus. And, well, away he goes. So 2-stop for the Force India. Now, I'm not sure that's the right decision. At all costs, you want to try and keep it a 1-stop here at Monaco. The less you have to stop here, the better. And, oh, I'm not sure what's going on with Nexus here. Looks like Nexus is in problems here. And coming out of the pit lane, he's lost his entire front wing. Oh, that's horrible for Nexus here. He's got another 5-second stop go. Oh, that's going from bad to worse from Nexus, running in P3 as he now makes his way through turn 3. Oh, that's so horrible. That looked like some sort of problem either with his wheel or something else there, but that didn't look natural. So Nexus there will be hugely frustrated with that one, but he knows staying in this one is crucial. You can still score those points. That's something that Poe gave up on very early on. Squeezy still leading then. 6.1 seconds ahead of Ollie. Ollie on through that ultra soft tyres as well. Lighty running in third place right now. And you can see in that bottom right hand indicator that it looks like his pit window is open. And that's Pursuit getting another 3-second time penalty. Here comes Alan Kay behind Graham as they head towards Raskas. And Graham actually comes into the pits then for his stop. And might be a bit of front wing changing here. Yuzi's also in. So a little bit of a crowded pit lane right now. And he has to wait there, Yuzi, before he's allowed back out on circuit. Graham then into the pits. He goes onto a set of super softs. So that's the plan, to stay out as long as he possibly can. Yuzi then making his way out onto the circuit. Staying within that white line, which he does indeed do. And that's going to put Siege back up to 9th place ahead of Pursuit, who's come back into the pit. And what about this time? Will he be able to get out of the pit lane nice and safely without problem? He'll be hoping that he can anyway, as he makes his way now out of the pit lane. Riding on board with him, yep, looks much more under control this time around anyway, as he now heads through turn 1. Obviously the pit lane exit is a lot different. As we now head up the hill through turn 3. Such a disaster for Nexus, but look at this, still in the points. And that's what's crucial about this race, finishing the race and you get points. Squeezy then making his way through turn 9 now. 6.8 the lead. And here we go again, it seems. Siege on the back of Graham as we head through 13 and 14. Coming towards turn 15, then through 16. And then coming towards Raskas here. Up the hill towards turn 19. And really this is the last thing Siege really wanted, to be behind Graham. As we head along the start for this straight, the DRS isn't as powerful as you'd like it here. Heading towards turn 1, Siege looked up the inside, but then backed out of the move as we now head up the hill. Heading through turn 2, and then up the hill through turn 3. You can see Graham there run a little bit wide. Siege wants to go for a gap. You can see he wants to go for it. Through turn 4 we go. Can he try and get the cut back on? Yes, he can. And at the end of the day, I don't think Graham made that too difficult for Siege. Siege gets past, and he's now up to P8. There you can see the gap to the leaders, and you can see how much Squeezy is dominating. And actually, if I'm not mistaken, that is Squeezy. Just in a race of his own at the moment. It's just showing how dominant he is. And he's progressed over the seasons to be a force to be reckoned with. Through turn 9. And then coming down towards turn 10. Started out in the McLaren days of season number 10, I believe it was. Or season number 11. And of course he was, first race, I believe, was at season number 9. When they had the Belgian Grand Prix. That was his first ever race, Squeezy. So he's been around for a while. This is his 5th season. And in 5 seasons he's done well. He's come a long, long way, has Squeezy. Leading the Monaco Grand Prix. Ollie here. Making his way now towards the start finish line. 7 seconds is the gap between himself and Squeezy. Lighty is in 3rd. German in the Force India. So used to him being in the Ferrari. But they wanted fresh faces this year. And Lighty into the pits then on those Hypersoft tyres. Looks like it's going to be super softs at the ready. And there are indeed in the Force India crew. And it's a front wing change as well for Lighty. So both Force Indias having trouble out there. So Lighty in the pits. Looking to change that front wing. That's going to promote Sean up to 3rd place. And Lighty making his way now out of the pits, down the pit lane, and towards the pit lane exit. Where will he rejoin? There's Alan Kay now making his way towards the start-finish line. There's Lighty making his way out and down towards turn 1. Of course, you have an inside line there, but you have a terrible, terrible exit as you make your way up to a hill towards turn 2. It's a really terrible exit. Nothing you can do about it at all. But that is Lighty rejoining ahead of Alan Kay. Alan can try and just put a little bit of pressure on the car ahead. But let's see if he can. Making his way through turn 6. And Squeezy, race leader in the pits. On go a set of super soft tyres. That means Ollie's going to take the race lead on some ultra soft tyres. Now let's see where Squeezy rejoins. There's Sean then. making his way down towards the final 2 corners. Meanwhile, Siege has made up a position. He's now up to 7th place, usually there up to down to 8th now. And Squeezy then making his way up the hill, 12.7 now behind Ollie. And Ollie, we're expecting maybe to go another 5 or 6 laps, possibly. And, well, there's no other tyre he can go on from there. It would have to be the super soft tyre, as Ollie now makes his way through. And that was Graham getting out of the way. Well out of the way, actually. So, Ollie, 12.5 seconds in the lead. And, of course, the bigger he tries to get that gap now, the better. The only problem was that he really wanted someone to get in front of Squeezy. Just put him under that bit of pressure. That didn't happen, so Ollie's going to have to do this the old-fashioned way to try and build a gap. As we now head around the final corner on with Ollie, as he makes his way down towards the start-finish line. And then towards turn 1, turning in. Graham into the pits then. And he's in again. This looks like a front wing change. And let's have a look at the stops right now. Graham in. On go a set of ultra soft tyres. On goes another front wing. And it is an expensive race, this one, for every single team, it seems. And Graham now making his way out. That's his 2nd stop so far. Nexus, Pursuit and Graham making 2 stops so far. The only people who haven't made a stop... Well, Graham actually tapped the wall there, coming out of the pit lane exit. The only people who haven't made a stop yet, Ollie, Sean, Mays and Alan Kay. They're the only drivers not to have made a stop just yet. Speaking of Mays, 4th place right now. Lighty in 5th place, who has made a stop, remember. Alan Kay there in 6th place. Known at keeping his tyres quite some distance. As Pursuit picks up a 3-second time penalty. That's not going to bode well for his end race time. As you can see there, Siege just testing the limits of the grip there through turn 3. And he's really going for it, actually, Siege. He wants a really good position, and the only way he can do it now is just by pushing every single lap. Lighty coming up to the ghost car of Poe, that is, and can be a little bit distracting when you have to go past the ghost car, but Lighty handled that pretty well as we head through turn 12. Lighty making his way now through the swimming pool section as we now head towards the final 2 corners. As you can see there, Lighty just about avoiding the wall there, as he now makes his way onto the DRS straight towards turn number 1. Lap 13, just under a third of the way through this race then. Ollie leads the race. He's yet to stop. Squeezy is in 2nd place and now is closing that gap. Sean is in 3rd, yet to make a stop. Mays in 4th, yet to make a stop. Lighty in 5th. He has made a stop this race. Alan Kay in 6th, yet to make a stop. Siege running in 7th place right now, who has made a stop. Yuzi made a stop, he's in 8th place, and blue flags as he lets Ollie go through. As Pursuit in 9th place again, blue flags. It's just very, very difficult to let the cars through. That's Graham there rounding off the top 10 runners left in this race as Lighty looks to try and close the gap to the Renault ahead. And a race like this, when you know points are everything, points here will be crucial. As Lighty now makes his way through 13 and 14, or 15, 16, sorry. As he now make our way towards Raskas, the hill through Anthony Nose, as Ollie there picked up a 3-second time penalty. That could prove crucial towards the end of the race, especially with the gap that Squeezy has right now, 10.5, and the gap is coming down too. Squeezy looking to just keep under control, keep his head in this scenario as he makes his way now through turn 12 and heading towards 13 and 14 and through 15 and 16. Squeezy today running his black helmet today instead of his traditional orange one, as he's paying his respects to Charlie Whiting this time around. And yeah, 111.7 was his last lap from him, 6 tenths off the pace then, as Ollie here making his way now down the hill towards turn number 5. Sean then is in P3. Through the DRS zone he goes and towards the start-finish line. Battle developing. Mays and Lighty. Battle for 4th place as we now head around the final corner. Onto the start-finish straight then. You can see from the back of Mays how close Lighty is. Catching the car in front is one thing. Overtaking them is quite the opposite. Lighty heading up the hill now. As we head through turn 3. Alan Kay has come into the pits. Graham also into the pits once again. So that's going to promote Siege up to 6th place. Lighty just putting some pressure under that Renault as we head towards the hairpin now of turn number 6. And can he... will he be able to get the car... Oh, that was Lighty tapping the wall there on the left-hand side. Not so great for him, considering he's going to keep that front wing in relatively good nick until the end of the race. And now we head towards turn 12, that left-hander that you want to carry more speed through there than you're able to. 13 and 14 quickly follow. As we head now down towards Raskas. And you can see Lighty still putting Mays under that bit of pressure. I wonder if Mays here is just trying to make these Ultrasofts last as long as possible. Mays didn't get the greatest exit, and I think there he's not made it too difficult for Lighty to get through. Maybe realising that he's not in the same race as Lighty and decides not to waste any time. Well, there could be a battle developing here for 7th place right now. There you can see Nexus, Pursuit and Alan Kay both in the same picture behind him. So you see here, under a little bit of pressure, Pursuit here wants to bounce back as Ollie now comes into the pit. Away he goes, and that is a pair of super soft tyres on the car. And Sean then is now the one of 2 cars yet to pit in this race. As you can see there, Sean making his way through the swimming pool section. Through Raskas he goes, and then coming through the final corner then. As he now makes his way down towards the start-finish line. As you see there, again not making it difficult for Pursuit then. And now Yuzi has got Alan Kay on his tail. There you've got Ollie as well. Now that's going to be a blue flag scenario. And of course Yuzi won't feel that he's got anywhere to go. And Ollie will be fuming under his lid here. As Yuzi then goes to the right hand side. And there's not a lot he can do. This is Alan Kay's opportunity. You saw Yuzi there letting the Red Bull through. And now he's closer than ever to the back of that Toro Rosso. He's got to take advantage of a situation like that. Couldn't quite do it that time. You can see then Pursuit now is probably going to have to move to one side and let Ollie through eventually. But when will he do it? He taps the wall. Oh, he's hit the wall now. Front wing lost for the Force India. And now will he come back into the pits? Yes, he will. And that is going to be, well, you couldn't write this stuff, could you? Back marker. And yeah, there's another 5-second stop-go penalty. So Alan Kay now makes his way past Yuzi. And again, Yuzi doesn't make it too difficult. And you can see there, him backing off as well. Sean now into the pits. In the Haas. And you can see there the Force India being repaired. And here comes the Haas into its box. Just a tyre change from the Haas crew. So Sean's done a pretty good job of keeping out of the walls there as he makes his way now down the pit lane exit. Lighty then makes his way up towards 3rd place. That is Pursuit, his teammate ahead of him, who is about to lap now. Mays also into the pits. On go a set of super soft tyres. And again, just a tyre change from the Renault boys this time around. As Mays now looks to go to the end of the race. And that is easily done on those super soft tyres right about now. Lap 19 with all the pit stops out of the way. Your standings look like this. Squeezy is in the lead, 12.8 ahead of Ollie. Lighty is in 3rd place. There is Sean in 4th. Siege there is in 5th place. Mays in 6th. Alan Kay in 7th. Yuzi is in 8th place with Nexus, Pursuit in 9th. Poe, who is a non-runner. But that's Graham behind. He's looking to try and find a way through. He now heads down towards turn 5 here. And Pursuit is out. Pursuit is out of this race. Oh, a disaster for the Force India driver. And, well, that is his day well and truly done and dusted. What a way to end your first race. But it wasn't meant to be for Pursuit. He's out of the Monaco Grand Prix. Well, there is Squeezy now. Quick as anything. As Mace quickly gets out of the way there. As Squeezy now makes his way around the final corner. And towards the start-finish line then. We have 20 laps to go. We're halfway through this race now. And with Squeezy still in the lead. That's going to put Graham up to 9th place. So that's going to be 2 points for him there. And I want to keep a hold of that for as long as he possibly can. Keeping an eye on the gap between Lighty and Sean. And Sean makes his way now down towards turn 10 and then through turn 11. As well as that, we've got to keep our eye on Maze here. He's going to try and close that gap on Siege. Siege is on 15 lap old super soft tyres. And if you remember, he pitted on lap 4 for a front wing change and a change onto a set of super soft tyres. He now makes his way around the final couple of corners. Sean making his way now up the hill. As he heads now through turn 3. Fast left-hander here. As we now make our way through turn 4. Missing the drain and heading now down towards turn 5. Into the hairpin. Slow as anything. You can see their lowest speed was around 38 kph. Sean here is looking to try and close the gap on Lighty at the moment. It's not going the way he wants it right now. It's going up at the moment. But Sean here is looking determined to try and lose that gap as much as possible. Lighty here now making his way through the chicane of the swimming pool section. And as he heads now through Raskas up the hill, through Anthony Nogues. And towards the start-finish line. Well, the cars are relatively spread out, but all the drivers know that getting to the end is important. It's a chance to score some really, really good points. A chance that you might never get in the season ever again. So that's why it's so crucial for all these drivers to get to the end. They're not going to take many risks here. A Siege there making his way through turn 3. And then through turn 4, he's got to keep an eye on his tyres. Through turn 6 he goes, through that hairpin. Sort of mounting the curb there on the inside. But there he's Squeezy. Look how quick he is. Let's have a look at fastest laps in the race so far. If I can remember which one that is. There it is. So 1:11.1 from Squeezy, currently holding the A-Logo fastest lap of the race award. Ollie there, only 2/10 off that best lap time that Squeezy's put up. And now you can see the gap to the leader now. Siege is Squeezy's next target at the moment. And there he is in plain sight. Making his way around the final corner. And towards the start-finish line, Siege will be getting those blue flags anytime soon. And now making his way up the hill. As we head through turn 3, and then through turn... Oh, this is turn 3. My apologies. We're now heading through turn 4. As we head now down the hill towards turn 5. Now heading around turn 7, through turn 8 now, and the blue flags are starting to wave for the Red Bull as he now gets out of the way for the race leader. And Squeezy looking to try and keep this dominance up for the season. Currently leading this one. Ollie is 12.4 behind, looking to try and keep that pressure on. Lighty is 55 seconds back from the race leader. In fact, that's up to 56 seconds now behind the race leader. Sean is over a minute behind, with Siege now a lap down. Let's have a look and see if anybody is close to beating Steph's record at the moment. No one just yet. As the only person to make more than one stop is Graham. And he's made 3 stops so far this race. Squeezy then, making his way through turn 7 and then coming through turn 8. Obviously the first Monaco Grand Prix all the way back in 1950. The circuit of 3.337 kilometres. And of course it is a little odd at Monaco because the race distance is 260 kilometres. And normally a race is the first full lap over 300 kilometres. That's how they work it out in terms of race distance. But because Monaco is so short and the lap time is relatively a long one for a 3.337 kilometre track, they decided that the Monaco one should just be 260 kilometres. And that's that. So the race distance stands at 260.286 kilometres. The race lap record was a 114.26 by Max Verstappen in the season just gone in 2018. Let's have a look and see what the fastest lap was again. Oh yeah, 111.1. So we're lapping 3 seconds faster than Verstappen did back in 2018 season. Monaco Grand Prix is one of those circuits that's the jewel on the calendar, as it's so often called. Nelson Piquet once described it as like riding a bicycle around your living room. And we have seen more moves than the 2003 race. The 2003 Monaco Grand Prix witnessed 0 passing moves whatsoever. Yuzi into the pits then, and he goes onto a set of ultra soft tyres as he now makes his way down the pit lane. It's been a part of the calendar since 1950 and then hasn't been off the calendar. It's never missed a season since 1955. That is how iconic it is. Down the hill we go towards turn 5, and if you ever try and look at this circuit, or try and drive this circuit if you like, when the barriers aren't up, well, that hairpin, it still exists. There's actually a hotel on the other side of it. We're squeezing now as we head down towards turns 10 and 11. As Squeezy picks up a 3-second time penalty there as he makes his way now through turn 12. As he taps the wall there, oh, he's got to be careful as we now head through the swimming pool section. And coming towards Raskas here. You can see the buildings right ahead of you. And now coming up towards the final corner, Anthony Nogues, named after, well, the man who decided to organise this race back in 1929. Originally, it was just a race that him and some of his friends just decided, well, we're gonna make a track. We're gonna make a track here. We're using the streets, and that's that from the Automobile Club de Monaco. And it was on the calendar for the very first Formula 1 World Championship back in 1950. We could forget the time when Kimi Raikkonen retired from the Monaco Grand Prix and decided to just go back to his yacht. It's one of those races. all the time when Ayrton Senna lost it at turn 8 and put the car into the wall. And because his hotel room was only a short walk away, he decided to go back to there instead of back to the garage for the debrief. And Yuzi's now out of the session. Yuzi out of the race, and looks like yellow flags are out. Another virtual safety car has been deployed. That looks like to clear the debris away from Yuzi there. No full safety car. And that is an Alfa Romeo behind Alan Kay, and that's Graham there. And Siege has taken advantage. He's come into the pits under the virtual safety car. And what tyres are going on for him? It's another set of super softs just to get him to the end of the race. But he's pitted in under a virtual safety car. It's not quite a free pit stop, but it's as close as he's getting to it right now. But it does mean he loses minimal time to Maze, and now he rejoins on fresh tyres. So a good call from Siege then. It's under the virtual safety car. We'll wait then. The green flags, there they go. DRS is once again enabled. And Siege really timed that to perfection on a fresh set of rubber now. And he has 12 laps to enjoy himself out there now and start setting some quick laps. Lighty then is a full minute down, not just on the leader, but on second place, Ollie. As there is Squeezy making his way through the swimming pool section, kicking out the back end as he does it, heading through Raskas. Up the hill we go around Anthony Nogues and towards the start finish line. So now that looks like Sean. It is Sean there, and there's Lighty coming up the hill, and Squeezy's not far behind. This could be Squeezy lapping third place very, very soon. Graham comes into the pits then and leaves on a fresh set of... oh no, my mistake. My apologies there, that's not what happened. There is Siege then on that fresh set of super soft tyres. He probably did it so that the tyres could get to the end. He probably knew that the super soft he was on, it was going to be very, very close to making them last. So he just decided, what's the point of taking the risk? And that pit stop means it's got him back out to P5 on some competitive rubber now. As he now looks to try and close the gap to Sean. It's a big gap. But I wouldn't be the first to say, hang on a second, oh, Squeezy taps the wall again. He's got to be careful about that one. But Squeezy now making his way now through Anthony Nogues, and there is the Force India right ahead of him. We have 10 laps to go here at Monaco. And again, for some of these drivers, it is just about making it to the end of the race. That's all they want to do right now. They're not willing to take many risks. Meanwhile, Squeezy is pushing like his lead depends on it. Making his way now down towards turn 5. It's almost like you want to say to Squeezy, you don't need to push so hard. But Squeezy looks like he's not going to listen to that call anyway, as he now makes his way towards turns 8 now. And that is the Force India getting out of the way. That is Lighty. So now Squeezy has lapped one spot on the podium. It's going to be a tall order to try and lap Ollie from this position, considering he's 14.5 seconds behind. And has now just got past Graham there for another lap against his name. And let's have a look at gap to the leader. Well, that tells you quite a story. Squeezy has simply been untouchable today. As now Ollie makes his way through turn 12, so close to that wall. You really have to kiss these barriers, otherwise you don't get the full potential out of the car. And again, fastest lap here, Ollie 11.2. That wasn't 11.3 the last time we checked it. Siege there 11.6 on fresh tyres. Still can't quite match the Mercedes of Squeezy. We have 9 laps to go in this one, as he makes his way now towards the hairpin. Makes his way through turn 8 and through the tunnel now, as he looks to just sort of fiddle around with the ERS. And that's interesting, you see, Squeezy there going all the way, maxing 6th gear if you like, to try and get the most out of the engine. Now whether that actually works or not, I'm not entirely sure, but I'll tell you what, Squeezy's sticking by it as he makes his way now through the swimming pool section. As he taps that wall. Heading through turn 17. Oh, sorry, 18 as he now heads around turn 19. And here he goes now to start lap 32 of the Monaco Grand Prix. 8 laps to go here. Graham picks up a 3-second time penalty out there. Well, Sean here is only 3.8 seconds behind Lighty, looking to try and close that gap as much as he possibly can with 8 laps to go. And of course, Lighty downwards don't have to match the fuel delta. They can now run -1 lap of fuel to the end, because of course the fuel calculated to the end of the race and on the MFD. So they can actually run -1 laps of fuel and still make it to the end of the race. So expect them to have a yellow light indicator come up anytime shortly on the fuel indicator, because that means they're really trying to go light and try and make it to the end of the race, just pushing alone. As it's Sean here makes his way through turn 10 and 11 as he now makes his way towards turn 12. As that's Alan Kay into the pits. What's happened to Alan here then? Looks like that's a front wing ready as well, and it is. Well, the Renault boys changing Alan Kay's front wing. He's going on to a set of hyper soft tyres. He wants a fast lap too. But there goes Alan Kay then away in the Renault. And that's Ollie into the pits now. Well, Ollie here is also going for a hyper soft tyre. Just a tyre change though for the Red Bull. And away he goes. Now I wonder what Squeeze is going to make of that then. Will he pit, or will he just think, no, I don't need fastest lap? There's no point in it yet, boys. There's no point. But there you go. Alan Kay then had to make a front wing change. So he's now back out on a set of hypersoft tyres. And you can see him now just sort of thinking about it. Yep, I think I'm going to go for the fastest lap of the race. He's got Ollie for good company though. And Squeezy making his way through turn 12. Is he interested? Will he bite? Makes his way now through towards the swimming pool section of 15 and 16. As he now makes his way down towards turn 18. What will he do, I wonder? No, he'll stay out. He's not tempted by the fastest lap of the race. He just wants to get to the end now. 6 laps to go. So he now makes his way through the tunnel section as he heads down the hill. As he looks to warm up those tyres and for a lap here. Alan Kay making his way now towards turn 19. And now it looks like he's going to try and wind up and go for a lap here. As he now makes his way now towards turn 1. And compare that turn 1 with this turn 1 on board with Ollie now as he makes his way towards Sandoval. And you can see Ollie there attacking the curb there. And Alan Kay just using the curb as that reference, now heading down towards turn 5. And now towards the hairpin now. It's looking good now. There is the Red Bull, I believe that is of Siege, and it is. So you can see at this moment in time that Alan Kay is almost now a lap behind Siege. Alan Kay making his way through turn 12, now through 13 and 14. Oh, loses the back end there. Very, very close to losing that car entirely there. But he makes his way around Raskas. Up the hill he goes. And around the final corner. And will this be a contention for fastest lap of the race as he heads towards the line? And it's a 1:12.5. What about from Ollie as he makes his way towards the line? It's a 1:09.5. A logo fastest lap of the race so far is to Ollie with 5 laps of this race left to go. Sean here is just trying to manage that gap to Lighty Hasn't come down, but hasn't really gone up either. So Sean here just managing that gap to Lighty. Lighty, who's been on those tyres for 24 laps, as has Squeezy. So now make the way, or is it Squeezy makes his way now towards the final corner. And across the line he goes to start lap number 36. 4 laps to go here at Monaco. And Squeezy has been just putting in a dominant drive once again. You wouldn't really expect anything else at this point in time. Looking to make it 5 out of 6 with 3 on the trot. In fact, no, I take that back. This looks like it's going to be 4 on the trot here for Squeezy. With Jay, the only one breaking that sort of run he was going to have at Bahrain. Still not over yet though. Still 3.5 laps left to go. As you can see now, Sean starting to drop away from Lighty towards the end of this race. Wants to close that gap, but it looks like now it's increasing mini-sector by mini-sector. As he now makes his way under the tunnel. Alan Kane, meanwhile, on those Hypersoft tyres. Those Hypersoft tyres won't last too long during this race. But you can't fault Alan Kane for giving it a good go, especially after he lost that front wing. Sean here making his way, darting through turn 13 and 14. And through the swimming pool section as we head now towards Raskas. Around the final corner he goes. Squeezy meanwhile, 3 laps to go for him. And well, he sees that gap coming down, but I don't think he's too concerned about it. As he makes his way through the hairpin. Let's have a look on board with Ollie then. As he makes his way now up the hill. 109.7 his last lap there. Only 0.2 off his fastest lap of the race and the fastest lap of the race. Through Casino Square. Now down the hill. Through turn 5, through Massenet. And then towards turn 6 here, the hairpin. As that's the other Red Bull there of Ollie. Sorry, of Siege there. So the Red Bulls are actually a lap apart from each other at the moment. Squeezy then coming towards the line. And he will start 2 laps to go. Up the hill he goes, and again it's been a pretty dominant drive from Squeezy today as he now makes his way through turn 4. Down the hill he goes towards turn 5. Heading now through turn 6 and then down the hill through turn 7. Siege in the closing stages of this race has really closed up to Sean. 9 seconds is the gap, but 9 seconds is a long, long time. And Siege there tapping the wall as he was coming up the hill. He was saying before the race that he wasn't confident in the tyre temperatures at all. And he was going to struggle with them. At P5 at the moment. Again, he finished in this race in a good position if he just simply finished this race. And Squeezy now making his way towards the final corners. Up the hill now through Anthony Noakes. And here we go then, towards the final corner. And Squeezy then starts the final lap of the Monaco Grand Prix in the lead. And will he finish it in the lead? Up the hill he goes now. Through towards turn 2 now and through turn 3. Looking to keep that car nice and under control for just one more lap now. As we head through turn 4, through the Casino Square, down the hill through turn 5 and Massenet now. As we now head through towards turn 6 as Graham has retired from the session with only a lap to go. And he is out of this one. Siege into the pits. And on go a set of Hypersoft tyres. So, well, Siege they're making a late call. And I don't know if that's going to work because there's Graham out of the race. He's tapped the wall in the tunnel. And that is the end of his Grand Prix there. I'm not sure what Siege is thinking there. Obviously, it might be lap 37 out of 39 for him, but for Squeezy, it is the final lap of the race. as he makes his way now through the final couple of corners. Heading through Raskas for the final time. And towards the final corner, it's Squeezy then, who's going to come across the line. It's race win number 5. 4 on the trot for Squeezy. He wins here in Monaco and continues his dominant form. Uncatchable today from Squeezy. As Ollie now is in second place, making his way towards Raskas. And he will be the only other car to finish on the lead lap. As Ollie now makes his way around the final corner. Second place for Ollie. It's a good result for him. It's 18 points on the board as he makes his way across the line. Sean then rounds off the podium. And what a podium that is for Sean as Siege now makes his way towards the final couple of corners. He won't get that hot lap he wanted, as that's Alan Kay looking to try and come across the line in 7th place as well, looking to pick up some points. Poe as a ghost car will not score any points, but that is Alan Kay in 7th there, Siege in 5th, and Mays there looking to just cruise his way towards the start finish line around the final couple of corners now, as he makes his way up the hill and around the final corner, and he will claim 6th place in this race as he weaves towards the start finish line. And there is your race winner in the Mercedes. It's Siege, race win number 5 out of 6. Well, there are your top 3 then. Squeezy taking the race win, Ollie in 2nd, and Sean with a podium for Haas. 5 out of 6, 4 on the trot. Can anybody stop Squeezy? Well, here are your official, unofficial results then for the Monaco Grand Prix. Squeezy wins today. Ollie is in 2nd place. Sean in 3rd. A fantastic podium for the Haas team. Lighty in 4th with Siege in 5th. Mays in 6th. Alan Kay in 7th. Poe, Graham, Yuzi, Pursuit and George Roberts all not finishing the race. And that concludes the Monaco Grand Prix. As I said before, it was a race where people just wanted to get to the end. That's all they wanted to do. That's all they could do to score some vital points for the season. Unfortunately, there will be no commentators' corner tonight, so let's get all the adverts out of the way right about now. You can follow the league at TTL_F1 to follow all the updates. And whilst you're there, you can also follow me if you like at KSMCG F1. You can follow me there and all of my commentary ventures. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well. Click that red button down below. Make sure you click the notification bell so you're notified every time we go live. And make sure as well you're tuning into the channel on Thursday, where we are heading to probably one of my favourite tracks on the calendar. It is, of course, the Canadian Grand Prix. So I do hope you can join us for that one. Make sure as well you tune in on Friday and see Malk's first time as a TTTV commentator. That'll be on Friday night at 7:55 GMT. We've also got Andy in the box on Saturday. That's guaranteed for TTP cars. He will be commentating the 2 Formula C races there. And also Jack and Katz are in the box on Sunday for TTL F2. But until Thursday then, I've been Kieran McGinley. You've been watching. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time.